Okay. Now we review the RSH leads to close funnel. Okay. We are RSH leads. We get you the leads and we help you close them and attract more sales. Okay. So the funnel is broken up into 4 distinct systems. Each of those systems is broken down through their mechanisms into easy repeatable steps. You want the steps to be simple, repeatable, so that you can measure them, so that you can scale them, because scale is how you make money. Okay. So let's break those down. The first of these subsystems is your lead magnet. Okay. How do you attract the leads to your business? We build the mechanisms to attract leads to you. Then your leads go through qualifying. Okay. How do you qualify the leads? Make sure you're getting quality leads. We build the mechanisms for that. Then there is your lead contact. We build the mechanisms to get you into actual contact with your leads. And of course, closing. Okay. So, how do we attract fresh, custom leads to you at the point of highest intent? Okay. So that involves what we have in-house, which is our AI film studio. Okay. And because we have a in-house AI film studio for both, images and videos, right? Because we have that allows us to create custom AI ads and VSLs. And VSL is a video sales letter. So in-house we create all of your custom AI ads and video sales letters. Because it's custom, we're able to create what we call the digital twin for you. So each of our clients has a digital twin who looks like them, sounds like them, says what they want them to say. We get the digital twin to say what we want it to say because we also have ad and VSL script builders. Okay? Which we use to make sure that we get out all the information, highlight all of the bells and whistles and the lead magnet terms, buzzwords that your lead needs to hear to be able to be compelled to stop scrolling, to see what you have to say, to fill out the information so that they can get contacted, so they can get a new policy in this case, but close with you, right? So that all starts here from the scripting. Also, since we have all of the AI infrastructure in-house, we also take care of your social media presence, which is essentially, for this Facebook and Instagram, Meta, basically, right? So you don't have to worry about that. We in-house will populate all of your social media presence because you want it to all be cohesive. When a lead clicks on an ad that they see somewhere and they click on a link to go to your business Facebook page or your business Instagram, it needs to be coherent, it needs to be seamless. So we handle it in-house so that it is also your custom business web page, right? Your website and URL. We also manage that in-house. We build it for you and manage it for you. So this is good because this is essentially your digital business card. So instead of an actual business card, it's go to my custombusinesswebpage.com, and there you'll be able to enter and they'll be able to see your all of this stuff, your custom AI ads, your VSL, your digital twin. They'll be able to hear your scripting, and then they'll also be able to qualify themselves. So let's move on to how, after we attract the lead to ourselves, to our business, to you, then we qualify the lead. So here in lead qualifying, you want to first, verify and qualify your leads. Verify means you have the correct information. Qualify means to make sure that it's a lead, it has lead quality, somebody you can actually help and who's willing to be helped, essentially, right? So we do that in a couple of ways. We have basically the short form and the long form questions. That our leads fill out, right? So when we get started, I should say this, when we get started with you, we do 2 launches. The first launch is your short form launch. That is just mostly to warm up your account on Facebook, because you want to make sure that everything works, all of your automations, your mechanisms are working before you scale to the long form on your personal business page, right? So in the time that we're doing the short form, which generally speaking is about 1 to 2 weeks from sign up, 10 days, 10, 14 days, we already have your leads being generated, and we're making sure that we get some initial feedback, make sure that the mechanisms are working that we have in place before we go onto your full scale launch, which will be roughly 3 to 4 weeks on average from sign up. Okay, your short form is just contact information and some quick vital questions, maybe about budget, maybe about beneficiary, things that will give you some a piece of the context of the situation you're dealing with in terms of the lead. Long form is where you can ask up to 15, 20 questions, and you can get comprehensive information about your lead before you even speak to them. Okay, so either way, this is all part of our lead qualifying mechanism. Also, each lead goes through the OTP. OTP is one-time passcode. So that's a situation where maybe you're on a platform, you're dealing with sensitive information, and so the platform requests that you give them a working cell number, right? And then they text you a 6-digit code, right? And then you put that code back into the system, and that's how we confirm that, first of all, we're dealing with a fresh new human being, right, with a working cell number, who can follow the direction to put the code back in. So that's just the mechanism that is the one-time passcode. For us, we use it because that's how we officially know we have a new lead, okay? And that's our proof to our clients that each lead is fresh and each lead is authentic to them, customized to them based on the advertising, the social media presence, and the custom web presence that we built for them, which is where we get the new lead from, right? So no refurb, no resold leads. All leads are fresh, and as they come into the system, they come to you immediately. And we'll talk about that with lead contact and why that's so important, right? Also, something we do for you that you may not necessarily be aware of, technically doesn't really matter to you, but in the long run it does, is that we attach what we call a pixel to each of the new leads as they come in, okay? So each new lead has a pixel attached to them. The pixel is like a tag that follows the lead and follows their progress throughout the whole funnel, okay? So whether this new lead turns into a positive desired outcome, which is a sale, or less than positive outcome, which is anything that isn't a sale, it's still useful information to have, because we take that information and send it back to Meta and tell Meta either give us more positive or more leads, show the ad to more leads who are likely to have a positive outcome, or show the ad to less leads that are likely to have a negative outcome. And that over time helps the quality of the algorithm that is finding the leads for you go up, right? And then also over time, the cost per lead, so how much you're spending on each of the leads, goes down, right? So over time, this is important as well. And it's also something we track for you within the funnel, in the lead qualifying system, okay? Now, making contact with the lead. Why it's important that when you get a new lead, you are notified immediately is because speed to lead speed to lead is still king. Despite all this technology, all this AI, all this infrastructure that's being built, when you get a new lead that's gone through this process and comes in, the best thing to do is to get into contact with them and develop on the rapport that you've already started to build, because they've already seen your digital twin and saying the things you want them to say. They've likely been to you through your social media, your business social media, and reach your custom page where they filled out the questions and verified themselves, authenticated themselves. So declared their intent and their quality that we're tracking in order to get to you, right? So the smartest thing to do, the next best thing to do is speed to lead, is speaking to the lead as soon as possible. In the event that that doesn't happen because you're busy or doing something else, then we have technology to take over and keep the lead warm and booking up until the point where they do speak to you, right? But it's still the best to speak to you. Next though, if that's not possible, then of course we have, text message and email automations in place, right? Triggers. So basically, when a new lead comes in, it's a trigger to send correspondence to the lead and send correspondence to you, at the very least, in order to start the direct conversation. It's already been built, right? So as far as the text messages and emails, we have settings for the initial, contact, and the daily outreach, daily contact. And each of the leads that we have in our system gets contacted at least once a day from some mechanism attached to our infrastructure in order to get them really to book and get them to have a conversation with you, right? So we also have AI text messaging and AI calling on your behalf, which we call the AI call center, right? And we have them set to contact your lead list as often as legally possible, because we've done so much work to get these leads and they are the quality that we should talk to them as soon as we can. And we should leverage the technology that is available in order to enhance the probability of not only an interaction, right, but also a positive desired outcome, which is a close, because we help the leads solve the problem, which is their lack of coverage in this case. Okay, so all of this is built to book a call or transfer, right? Which is why we also integrate your business calendar with the system, so that in lieu of you being able to book directly if necessary, then the lead can either book themselves directly, right? So the new lead is prompted to book a call. The initial SMS is prompting them to book a call. Daily outreach is prompting them to book a call. And the call center itself is prompting them to book a call. So we have your calendar integrated with the system so that those bookings can be, organized and optimized all in one place. Or transfer. Whatever the situation, calls for, that's what the technology will do for you. So we've attracted the leads with our lead magnet. We've attracted the leads, right? Attracted the leads to ourselves. We don't chase leads, we attract the leads, our leads to us. Our leads with the highest quality and the highest intent to want to work with us, we attract them to us, right? Then we qualify them in the forms. We verify that they are real because they have a working number and someone active enough to put the code back in. Then we track them, of course, over the long run. But now we've contacted them and now it's time to close. So we structure the way that we interact with our leads, not as a script, but as a sales framework, okay? And inside that framework, we basically structure the conversation such that the structure of the conversation is always the same. You want to do that so that you're able to take simple steps that you can repeat, that you can measure, that you can scale, that you can get better at, you can iterate, okay? So the sales framework, very quickly, is just proper introduction, and then information gathering, and then identification of the pain point. So properly introducing yourself as the guide in this journey that is the sales process, right? Then gathering the correct information here to make sure that you verified and qualified your lead, right? Then identifying from that information what the actual pain point is that your lead is going through, because it's not necessarily I need coverage. It's I am worried about this unforeseen circumstance perhaps happening and me not being able to be prepared or covered for that situation and to be able to take care of the family or the assets that I'm currently taking care of now. Okay, so how do we attack that problem? How do we, the agent and the lead, who is now, the hero and the guide, or the guide and the hero, how do we attack this problem and reach our goal that is the peace of mind we get from the coverage, right? So the next step after you identify the pain point is identifying the solution in the way that it speaks to the pain point, right? And we talk about that throughout the process. We develop our ability to close, and really it's certainly this point, because when you're able to build and stack the value that you're providing by answering the question, by answering the pain point that your lead has, it makes it much easier to go through to the next step, which is the costs versus benefit analysis, right? Of taking the step towards acquiring this coverage versus staying in the state that we're in, where we're in pain because we haven't answered our problem, and then doing that properly makes the decision to buy a no-brainer, which is the last step, right? So this is your sales framework. It's a structure of the conversation where you can make it repeatable, then measurable, then iterable, so that you can get better at it. And then this is how your close rate will go up, right? So we have that. Then we have, of course, your review, your referral mechanisms that we just installed in place for you. And then we also have sales feedback calls. As well as YouTube content. Okay. So this is your leads to close funnel that we built custom for each of the clients that we have. And now you can see how we attract the lead, not only quality, but custom quality lead to our clients. We build out their social media and web presence so that the apparatus is consistent and seamless and the same. Then we qualify the leads, we verify the leads are fresh with at least a working cell number, because if you have a working cell number, you can start from there and you can work your way through to the rest of the funnel. You could even go backwards, if you have a working cell number. Nonetheless, we also have pixels for tracking so that we enhance the algorithm over time. That's giving you the leads, basically enhance the quality of leads, because we tell the platforms to give us more leads like the successes we had and less leads like the ones we did not have successes with, right? And then from there, we contact the lead, either book the lead, transfer the lead, but make sure we speak to the lead where we break down the conversation we have into a repeatable infrastructure, so that we can have a better likeliness at a desired outcome. And then we review how those calls go over time so that we can increase our close rate. And that's how we attract more sales to you. Again, we're RSH Leads. This is Leads to Close Funnel. Okay.